good. Welcome. Good morning. Hold on, I got my earpiece off. Sorry about that. Slightly lower professional level than we normally are at here. Mark Miller here. Rory is not with us today. Unfortunately, he is not feeling well. So we're looking forward to seeing him next week, and we certainly hope he gets better. I am just putting up the chat window here off to my right monitor. There it goes right over there. And one more thing. Codebase Alpha is saying hello. Codebase Alpha, holy cow. Guess what I've been working on, Codebase Alpha? I think you might like this. It's actually not going to trigger automatically yet because I got to restart everything for you. But check it out. See if you like this. Oh no! Codebase Alpha is in the house. So that's it for you, Codebase Alpha. It's a little bit in progress, I think, but it's you might like that. I thought you might like that. Kind of cool. Anyway, that's the Codebase Alpha intro. Legendary Moo's out there as well. Says very nice. Codebase Alpha says amazing. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I need to clip that if I know how. Yeah, it's not too hard to do that, I think. It's a little bit like Doctor Who, says Legendary Moo. Yeah, I was rushing to get it all together. That's why I'm about a minute late, and I didn't have my earphone on because I was like trying to get it all ready for the show in time. But I think by next show that'll come up automatically when you show up. So kind of cool.
Will Bennett is in the house.
Will Bennett is with us too. Victor is not coming, but Will Bennett is in the house. Excellent. Hey kids, I'm so glad everybody's with us today. Yesterday's show was, I think, excellent. It wasn't like what I would call perfect. It wasn't like a perfect kind of thing where we said, here's where the piece we ended up with was what we knew we were going to start with at the beginning. But it certainly satisfied what we were trying to do, which was to get a faster load for all of these sprites. And we started by working on a pull request that Will Bennett put some hard work into and thought into. And we started going through that. And we ran into some problems, which on my end, I wasn't able to figure out. And however, I was concerned about the direction that we were going because although you could argue that it was the best direction because the total amount of time spent accessing files would have been less because the idea was let's put all the files into one essentially big file so we have only one trip out to the server and back. That was kind of the thought behind it. The problem is that its perceived load time was still likely to be long is what we were looking at. And so I was a little bit worried about that. And so in the middle of it, we were like, well, there's a second idea that we were thinking about. And we started working on, and in the middle of yesterday's show, we started working on a second idea, which was essentially lazy loading on demand of the elements. And in fact, I'll kind of show you where we're at with that. So we've been running for a while and nothing has been loaded yet for the dice. Let's go switch over to one of the dice pages. This should do it. Like that. In fact, even the rollout of that, we didn't quite see everything because the pieces were not quite loaded. If we bring up another page, now we can see the animation. The first time we didn't see it because the pieces were lazy loading, right? So what happens is we have the ability to start an animation up and have everything we know about that animation be valid, like its size, even though we haven't loaded all the elements of the animation. And I'm just slightly distracted because I'm noticing we've still got the emitter particles still running on this up here at the top left. If you look at the top left of the screen, we still got emitter elements there. So I'm definitely going to have to go in and do some debugging in our particle system because those should be gone by now. Hold on. Codebase Alpha says slightly distracted. England just 14 runs away from the final place in the Cricket World Cup. When I was a kid, my mom had a friend who was British, and for my birthday, she got me a cricket bat. Now I'm a kid living in the United States, I had never seen one before. They are the coolest things in the world. If you've never held a cricket bat, it's kind of a cool thing because it's got a flat surface and kind of triangular in the back. It's got a really nice weight, a great handle, a grippy handle, and it's a really smooth surface. It's brilliant. It looks like a and the other thing I like about it too is that it is it gives you a shot. I think a greater ability to introduce strategy into the game than with a baseball bat. And this may also be my total ignorance on baseball, but with baseball, holy cow, the precision required to kind of to bring any strategy into the game would seem to be beyond my limits as a human being. And so, however, with the cricket bat, I liked it a lot. So, so anyway, yeah, particle system not working there. I wonder if it's related to the lazy loading. Let's go switch to another element. Do we see those go away? They are not going away. I have not noticed that before. I think it may be a new problem. It may be related to bug. I think we're gonna have to take a look at the particle system on that. Now that we've got this up here, let's see. I'm going to do a refresh of the cache of the die rolling page that's out there, and that now is going to load like in 5 seconds or 4 seconds. It's much faster load than before. I'll send the data over to it, and now if we do a roll, let's do a roll with what is the hardest, the most complex animation that's out there, and that's the necrotic damage. So if I do a necrotic damage dice roll here with like say 6 d8s, and I just do a damage only roll here, you'll see what I mean here by the load on demand, what happens the first time we get it. See the flickering? That's because we haven't quite loaded all the resources yet. And then finally, it's up. So we've got this great load on, and there's flickering again. You can see it there as we're loading up these elements because they're being requested. They're being requested for the first time. Now, can be done in baseball, but requires a lot of skill, a high barrier to entry. Yeah, I think you're probably exactly right, Legendary Moo. I think there's a level of strategy that people talk about and athletes work to that I would consider mind-blowing there. So, yeah. So if we do that again, by the way, and we do a damage only one more time on the same roll, no flickering, everything's cool, right? Solid, looks great. So what I want to do now, we've got part 1 done. We've got the ability to load our page up very quickly, which means we can test what we want to test very quickly. The thing I want to work on today, though, is a background loading so that works in addition to this. So if I'm just talking, if I'm not doing anything, what it's doing is it's going to go out and say, okay, well, let's grab something and load it right now. Let's just take a little bit of time and do it. And we're going to wait and then give you time. And if there's nothing happening, if we're not doing any animation, I'm going to go grab something again. And so that's what I want to do. That's my goal. And so that's what I want to do in today's show. There, look at that. You saw the flicker right there as it loads and brings all those pieces up. And yet we do it a second time. And we hide it. And the animation is smoother there. The scrolling, opening and closing is definitely a performance issue related to the I'll switch back to this view over here. And there you can see the coins kind of loading up there too. All right. It's related to the emitter. I just want to finish that last sentence. It's related to the particle system.
Surly Dad is in the house.
Excellent, Surly Dev. Welcome, welcome. For the dice, I bet you could cheat a little and have it be part of the intro for the stream. Yeah, you know, I could do that too for this stream for sure. And Surly Deb says, ooh, sad. Wait, Dred, we almost made a show without him, but alas, no, Surly Deb just sauntered in. Yeah, Mr. AnnouncerBot was very specific about Surly Deb there. So, all right. So with regards to that, yeah, I think what I want to do is I just want to, I want this thing to load in the background, and I want it to prioritize the heaviest weighted assets that are out there. And by that, I mean the assets that are going to take the longest time to load up. Let me just bring up our assets here. In fact, I've got a shortcut to it. And I'll show you what I mean by that. If we go into damage here, the ones we just added, necrotic is pretty heavy. It's got 194 images of this head that are moving around, that are all behind this piece. So it's super heavy. So I want the heaviest ones loaded to be selected first in our background loader. So the essence of this of what I wanted to do is I wanted to basically here's how I think I'm going to solve it. I'm going to have a timer that's going to go off every maybe 6 or 7 seconds. When it goes off, it's going to check to say, hey, is there any animation or anything running? Are we rolling dice or anything like that? And if we're not, then we're going to say, okay, let's load something. That's what I think we're going to do. Legendary says, welcome to Dragonhammer's Dice Roll By on Screen. The stream starts. Well, okay. So for that, for Dragon Humpers, I have like a whole intro kind of thing already pre-built. That's for the show. That is, let's see here. Actually, what's really funny is the exit. The exit is so funny. I'm just trying to see if I can find it here. Oh, you know what? I think it's in another set of scenes. It's not in this set, and I don't want to change them while I'm running this stream. But I think I might combine them over with this set, so I just have an easier transition. So at any rate, that's kind of what I want to do. Now the real trick is, how do we know if we're doing anything or not? That's the thing I'm not sure about. In other words, I know it from the dice roller, right? I imagine I can add some sort of code here that says, are we rolling a dice or not, right? Have we settled or not? That sort of thing. I think there's is it settled in here, waiting for settle. All dice have stopped rolling. Was right next to that. Let's go back and find that again. All dice have stopped rolling is false. And we set that in, I bet. Is that, oh, it's in, where's that? Random dice throw. No, I want it in the other place. Clear before roll, which is happening inside please roll dice. Okay? So all dice have stopped rolling is a way that we can check to see if work is being done. And if it is, don't do it. If animation is being done. There might be a smarter way at a lower level, but I'm not so sure about it. And the other thing, too, that I'm thinking we might do, too, is we might just say, hey, you know what? It's okay. In other words, if I just throw a load out at about every 5 seconds, there might be a chug that might happen about every 5 to 7 seconds. But I have a feeling it's unlikely to be noticeable. The chug is the management of the threads, I'm pretty sure, is done automatically by the browser window, right? I'm just going out and saying, hey, I want to load these. And so it says, okay, and it might chug a little bit, but the other stuff should also continue to run. So I think arguably I might be able to get away with just simply a timer that is going to load these pieces up. That's what I'm thinking I can do. So let's go take a look at that. Let's see what we got and where the right place to put this is. This is the call we created yesterday that does the load images out here. So we call load images passing in true the first time, and then false the second time. And this variable true, or the parameter is load only load one. So if we say true the first time out of the constructor, we're only going to load with the first image. That'll get us the height and width that we need to get without the burden of getting everything else. So, and we know the frame count, so we have a sense of the size of this. So loaded all images is here too as well. So part is really this, we've got all of these parts that are out there. And I think what I want to do I have a destroying in here? Do I have the equivalent of a destructor? I do not. Now I'm thinking about, so where, let's go look at part and where it is. Sprites. So Sprites has the base animation, which means we could potentially go out to Sprite Collection and implement the lazy loading in the Sprite Collection. Because, let's go look at this. Run drone, just hitting tab to next reference, drone game. I'm looking for Sprite Collection. I guess I'm going to find it faster if I do something like this. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to hit this button. Sprite Collection. Whoops, did I miss it? There's Sprite Collection right there. Okay, so Sprite Collection's got a bunch of sprites inside of it and child collections as well. Sprite Collection is likely to be a good place to do this. In fact, if we start looking around, we do tab to next reference on Sprite Collection. We get out of here. You can see Drone Games got it in all meteors. All walls is there, all drones, all splats, drone explosions. They're kind of, it's used all over the place. Every once in a while I do use sprites by themselves without adding them to a sprite collection, but that's certainly a place to consider doing this. How about a static activity class that you call when starting and stopping an activity? I can do that, but I can do that. The only thing you need to load is access to the image property on parts. So you could just have a repo of all parts and remove them as the images property gets accessed. Oh, yeah, I kind of like that. That's like flipping awesome. That solves everything. Yeah, so and I didn't say this yesterday, I think enough, but
Will Bennett rocks.
Will Bennett came up with an incredibly clever idea yesterday, right? I had kind of the essence of it, and this often happens, is like, oh, I got a solution, and I start, brute forcing and ignorancing my way through that because
Force and ignorance
are the sponsors of this show. And so I'm doing that, and Will yesterday had a great idea. Wait, you could put this down in part, and you wouldn't have to do all this work you're doing everywhere else. And I was like, oh gosh, you're right. And we started doing that. It was a little tricky to get this whole thing going. I think the trickiest thing was adding this bit of code and this bit of code here so that we could very efficiently load one, and the second time we called it, we would start loading at the second one and go on all the way to the end. So yeah, I think this is a really, really, really good idea. So let's do something like this. So load only one is called here. And I think what we want to do is we want to do this. We want to say, hey, look, if this dot frame count, right? Is that what we're using up ahead here? Yeah. If our established frame count is greater than 1, meaning we have something else to load, then we want to add ourselves to this other class we're talking about creating out here. So to do add ourselves to the static part background loader. And I think that's going to be my class name, is what I think that's going to be. Okay? And then when we come in the second time, and it is right down here, we can put this here, we were going to say remove ourselves from it, is what we want to do. Dot remove. This. Like that. Like that. And I almost think we want the same check right here as well. So that means we've loaded something else and we don't need to be in here anymore. So there's kind of theoretically no way it stays, the background loader stays in there, I think. Let's just do it anyway. It doesn't hurt to do that. We're going to do that. All right, so let's now create that class. If you use the promise instead of the event, you don't have to do the remove. The other class, just continue the promise. Now, I'm not familiar with this term promise, so I'm not sure what you mean by that. And I'm not actually using the event. I'm like right here in the call to itself. So the first time we call from the constructor, I'm going to add us. And the second time we are called from whatever, I'm going to remove us, okay, from the list of what we want to work with. Alternatively, yeah, no, that's fine. That's good. That's exactly what I want to do. Okay? So I'm not sure what you mean by that, Will. If you please elaborate on the using the promise instead of the event. The other class can just continue the promise. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. All right, let's create that class. I'll put it right here for now inside part. And it's static. And if I'm recalling correctly, that is what I want to do right there for that static class. So there's no constructor. And is this right? Nope, it's not right. Is it here? That's right. Is that right? Nope. I forget how to do a static class inside of JavaScript. Hold on one second. Just asking for the door to be closed there. Didn't want to shout in everybody's ears. Okay, background door loader, part background loader. I wanted to see. Static class, JS, and TS. Why am I not just totally blanking on this? Oh, it's just, okay, so it's nothing on the class. That's why I'm blanking. I can't remember it because it's nothing. I just put the methods in there. All right, so let's go down into here. Let's add these, and let's add this one. Let's jump up in here. And this is going to be a part. That. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's, we want to make these voids. And we need to have some sort of array in here. Let's see, can I do, I'm going to say parts to load. I think it is this array of parts. I think that's the syntax. And it's going to be static, like that. Parts to load, like this. And so we're going to say parts to load dot add part. That's the easy part. The remove part is a little bit trickier. We push. Okay. And I don't think we have a remove. I don't think we're going to be lucky to have anything like that. Yeah, so we've got to manage our own remove on here. And there could be multiple adds. It's theoretically possible, but crazy unlikely that that would be called. But I suppose we want to I think I want to do a for loop here that starts with length -1. and drops down to 0. And like that, so it's a reverse for loop, which I think I actually had templates for, starting with an uppercase letter, as I recall. Yep. So uppercase F, and then an R, and then the letter I want to use as a variable right there, like that. FRI is going to give me that reverse for loop there. And then I want to do something like this. If this parts to load of 0, or of I rather, sorry, is equal to part, then we're going to say parts to load dot remove. Talking about promise out here. I thought promise had an empty constructor, but I'm not seeing it in the docs. So, okay, so I'm going to still need more code because so promise is a class, I guess. Is that what it is? What do I have in here? How do I remove it? Not remove, is there delete? What is going to take this out of here? Oh, it's split, I think is what it is. Slice. Okay, what's the start number? The beginning of the specified for returns a section of the array. Is that it, or is it join? What's join do? Adds all the elements of an array, separated by the specified separator. Nope, that's not what we want. Slice, not splice. I think it's slice. Returns a section of an array. Maybe it is splice. And what is this? Moves the elements from the array. There it is, what I want. Inserts new elements into place. Okay. So we are going to say the start returning the deleted elements. Okay, so we're going to say splice, and the start is going to be I, comma 1, I think is going to give us the that. Let's double check it, just in case. JS array splice delete 1. Yeah. Okay. All right. What do we got here? Holy cow. C# Fritz is raiding with a party of 102 folks. No fanfare yet for C# Fritz, but he's awesome. Yeah. Hugo is saying kaboom, wondering about his fanfare as well. Is that right, Hugo? Did you sneak in or not? Interesting if we don't have fanfare for you, Hugo.
Hugo is in the house.
Sequel Mr. Magoo is back. I was in on that C# Fritz stream earlier this morning with you guys for a little bit. So welcome everyone. Glad you're here. Folks who are coming in late, I got to show you the new fanfare for Codebase Alpha. Here it is right here. There we go. Codebase Alpha's in the house. Boom. Just like that. Copperbeardy is with us as well. Copperbeardy gave us a raid, I think, yesterday. Hugo said, I did not. It came in like a wrecking ball. That's right. Love your voiceover, says Hugo Dahl. Okay. So welcome, everyone. We're in the middle of setting up our assets so that, here, I'll show you what we're talking about since everybody's just in here right now. Let me switch over to another view. Boring Productions is now following. Boring Productions. Excellent. Thanks for being with us. I have a colorful beard. It looks so cool. Yeah, you're right. We are working on Dungeons & Dragons Dice Roller. Murky God Tier is now following as well. We're working on a Dungeons and Dragons dice roller, and we're working on getting the assets for those dice to load up in the background. We already have load on demand, so I was demonstrating this earlier. This is necrotic damage on the dice roll for Dungeons and Dragons. But if I load up something we haven't done before, like say for example, let's do force damage. You're going to see some flickering as this comes in. So here it comes, a damage only roll for force. There's some flickering. And then it's up and everything's working. But there's a little bit of flicker, and that's because of the load on demand. So what I want to do is I want to make it so that these images are also loading in the background. So if we're talking or playing in Dungeons and Dragons or doing whatever, those things are loading up silently. But we still get the benefits of load on demand, which in other words gets us immediately up. When I do a refresh here, I'll show you what I mean here. I'm going to refresh our 3D dice cache, and when I do it, there's going to be a scroll bar on the left. And there's the refresh. There's the scroll bar that just appeared, and it went away. And then up at the top, I'm waiting for player data to be initialized. So we've just refreshed that. The refresh took, like I say, about 4 seconds. But now that I've refreshed it, if I go back to that necrotic damage again and I say, go ahead and do the attack roll on that, like there, it looks like that did not have the experience I was expecting on that. It's interesting. I think the cache loaded those up very quickly. I think that's the cache on it. That's okay. I'll switch to something else. Here comes fire damage, and we should see some flickering here on the fire damage. Let me change the player here. Close that scroll. And here comes the fire damage. So a little bit of flickering as it comes in. And then it's solid, like that. Do the same thing we'll do with cold damage. Take a look at this. Here comes the cold damage coming in here. Little flickering, and then it's solid again. So we're trying to get rid of that flicker the first time, if we can, by loading when we're not doing anything. So that's kind of what we're doing. Savava Blount says 10 hearts plus 1 belated raid participation. Thanks so much for being in here. Razel Descartes says, yeah. Sequel, Mr. Magoo. Yeah, I don't have snacks. I don't, but glad you're here. Good question. Isn't there a remove extension method on array in the project? I don't think there is. There might be, but I don't think there is. So we're creating this background parts loader here. And the work we did yesterday, by the way, yesterday's show was really, really good. It was a long show. It was about 3 hours plus, episode 142. But I love the show because it showed us trying to solve the problem a couple different ways. And we kind of run into some obstacles, and we kind of go back and we start another approach, and we realize, in fact, it was Will Bennett who was watching, who was realizing, oh, this is a lot of work, and there's an easier way to do this, more clever way to solve this. And we finally get to this really clever solution that not only impacts the die roller, but impacts everything that we're playing with in this space. Like one of the other things that we're playing in this space is the drone game, and you're seeing it like load up, and the flickering there is it's loading all of those bitmaps for the spinning coins. And so the drone game is also something that we've been playing with. Let me just clear out the Dragonfront overlay here for that. We'll do a refresh on this. But what's cool is everything reloads. This, by the way, is my Dungeons and Dragons clock over here showing Dungeons and Dragons time. So also built for the Dungeons and Dragons game. So very, very cool stuff here. And so we got this very cool load on demand code where we created this images property, and we just checking to see if we've loaded all the images or not, if somebody's asking for us. And if we haven't, then we go call load images, and then we're good. Now we do call load images at the very beginning from our constructor right here. At the end of our constructor, we call load images true, which is going to say, oh, load only one? All right, you got it. So then it's going to go down and do this and load only one image, and then it's out. But if that's false, then we're going to load the rest. And so that's what's happening here, and this load image is false right here. That means we're going to load the rest of the images right there. Now, what we want to do is we want to call this at the right time on the parts that we need to load. So what we're going to do here is, so what we've done is, what is going on here? Why do I have that down here? I'm not sure what happened here. I'm hitting undo. Nope, I want to splice. Maybe it's a redo. I guess I just had this hanging out here for some reason. Okay, so so this is our remove. So we're implementing our add and remove. These are, by the way, being called right at the end of this load images. So if it's load only one, we're going to say, okay, and if the frame count is greater than one, meaning we have another, for at least one more frame to load, we're going to add ourselves to the background loader. Otherwise, we're going to remove ourselves from the background loader right here, like this. And actually, I think it's occurring to me. No, I think we're good. Yeah, because it's second call to load images, so we're going to remove from there. So I think we're good on that. So that's all good. So now what I want to do is I want to, oh, hey, Codebase Alpha says, managed to clip that fanfare. Thanks, says Codebase Alpha. Cool. Yeah, kind of a fun fanfare for Codebase Alpha. It's a little bit, I just finished it just before the show, so it's a little bit work in progress. I might enhance that a little bit, but that's the essence of it right now. Kind of fun. By the way, if you hang out here long enough, you get your own fanfare. I should make one for C# Fritz for when he does a raid. So we give C# Fritz the fanfare he deserves. Speaking of which, I don't think he's not the guy who's probably going to be talking about how awesome he is. C# Fritz is fundamental in the community that's forming, the developer community that's forming out on Twitch. He's the one who created the Live Coders team. He was the first one to reach Twitch partner. He's been doing this almost, I think, longer than anybody, certainly for a long time, certainly for about I'd say over a year. Yeah, livecoders.dev is out there. Oh, C# Fritz is here. Yeah, C# Fritz. By the way, I actually have in my mind an awesome fanfare for you, but I haven't built it yet because it requires some 3D technology. But I think you're going to like it when I build it. So anyway, it's cool. Yeah, and these fanfares are just for folks who are here, regular folks who are in here a lot. Legendary move. Yeah, bring me tacos, says Michael Jolly. Looks like my fanfare triggering has stopped, but here's what Michael Jolly says.
Michael Jolly is in the house.
There he is, right there. Michael likes the tacos. And so that's his. We haven't heard from Straight Butter in a while, but Straight Butter is out here sometimes. Straight Butter is another guy who's got fanfare out here. And learn, well, Karen, my wife, Karen Mangicotti, also known as Sex Positive, you got to jump into the show to show your sex positive.
I'll do all the work.
Yeah, do all the work. Get inside the show, girl. And so Sex Positive, my wife, if she comes out and joins us, we'll see her fanfare. So let's do this. You think she just jumped in? I don't know. Maybe she's talking about it. We'll see what she does. And see if she comes in here. And let's do this. Since the fanfare triggering is not working, should we reset it? I don't know. We've heard most of it. She in real life jumped in. Yeah, that's true, Michael Jolly. Beware the lasers. Yeah, sure, fanfare's got the lasers in it. All right, so we're successfully adding and removing from the background loader. We also have to now do something in the background loader. And I have, do we get a static constructor inside of TypeScript? I bet we do. TS static constructor. What do we got? Cannot have a static constructor. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. All right. So this is a little tricky. Well, you know what? Actually, it's not tricky. I think I just realized how I can do this. This is not tricky at all. So we do this, and then we're just going to put this line of code right here, and that should just execute it once and only once. Is that right? We're not going to have a problem if this is used by multiple pages. I think we're okay, like this. And I think that will initialize it. I think that's going to totally solve that problem. And now here we want to do I think it's a set timeout. Set interval, and it's our handler, so we're going to say We're going to use a property initializer, I think, says Will Bennett. Give me an example of that, Will. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay, and I'm like, I want to see some of the examples I've got of set interval out here. What am I doing in random dice throw? Yeah, it's just like that. Okay. All right, so, and then we're going to say load background, load images. Like that, something like that. Load images. And the timeout on this, I think, is going to be about, I'm guessing, let's do about 3,000 to start with. So about every 3 seconds, we're going to do this. And then we're going to create a static load images. You're not coming in, Karen?
I'm in. Aren't I in?
Did you say something yet? You got to say something.
Oh, I have to say something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to trigger you.
You know how to trigger me. You totally know how to trigger me. All right, and so we've got load images here, and inside of here. Look out. Sex positive.
Sex positive in the house.
She's here, folks. Hugo Dahl says LMAO. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. You can turn the volume down on that and play that in another place if you want, Karen. You don't have to play that right there.
What?
You don't have to play that right there in front of me. You can turn the volume down and go somewhere else if you'd like. You don't have to.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, I know. That's my good friend, sex positive, Karen Mangicotti. All right, so let's see. Load images. This is where I want to go out and I want to grab one of these from the parts to load. And I think what I want to do is, and you know, my knowledge with JavaScript arrays is I'm not getting it. You know, there's a sort in here kind of thing. There's a compare function, and I don't remember this at all, the syntax for this. Let me go find a trigger somewhere. Let me go look at this somewhere else inside of here as well. Well, then it says, the way you did is clean, that's what I do. Wait, you it all says, courtship game, I win. Yeah, that's true. Lovely lasers, but I do not want to be on the receiving end of them. You do not, Hugo. This is one of the things that you always learn to just get a little bit out of her field of vision when things are not, you know, when things are not good for whoever's in the field of vision. Well, but it says, the way you did it is clean. That's what I do. In JavaScript, I think it's called an IIFE. If you create a private field that is initialized with an IIFE, then it should execute. Not sure. Like I said, the way you have it is now clean. Yeah, I think it's clean. I think it's going to work. So I think we're okay on that. Where's my, let's go find my, an example of my sort out here, because I know there's what I'm looking for. Something like that. All right, so let me just get that example back here. Close that down. Yeah, I'm always, when it comes time to do this kind of what I would call this lower level stuff, I'm like, how do I do this again? And so now we're going to take A and B in here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to say, it's going to look something like this. B dot frame count is minus A dot frame count is what it's going to look like. Like that. And so that's going to sort, and the question is this going to, I'm not sure which direction this is going to sort in, so we're going to have to step through this to make sure this is correct. I may have to swap the A and the B. But assuming that's the case, and that's going to work, we're then going to want to take the top one off of here. So we're going to call pop on that. For the last, we're going to take a look at that, and that's going to Let's use declare local on there, and that is going to be a part. Perfect. Sorry, I was just talking to Karen for a second there. All right, cool. So this is going to be the part to load. That's going to take it out of the list. And then we're going to say part to load dot load images. Wait a minute. Why don't I see load images? What is it? Oh, it's private. Fine. Let's make it public, I guess. Do I just access the image property? I don't think I want to do that. Because it was like, fine, I guess I can do that. Is that enough? Do I have to like, then we're going to say part to load dot images. I don't know. Is it just that? Is that my code? Is that all it's going to take to trigger it? I think that might be it. And then there'll be a slight mess here when we try to find it, remove it because it's not there. But this should be like instantaneous and undetectable by human. Yeah, well then it says should do it, I think. Yeah, so we're just triggering the load on demand is what we're doing. We should also check to see if parts to load has anything on it. So we're going to say, hey, if parts to load dot length is equal to 0, then we want to do two things. We want to exit out of here, but we also want to kill our timeout. We're done. And so what we want to do here is we want to do a declare local variable here. The set interval returns, what does it return? A number. Okay, so that's going to be a number. And then I'm going to change this to our interval ID, like that. And I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do interval ID. Like that. Okay, so now that I've got my interval ID, I should be able to now, I think there's something called clear interval. There it is right there, and it needs that handle to the interval. Maybe I'll change that from ID. Oh, let's to handle to match the syntax of it. All right. Nothing has ever been said that is more Mark Miller. Wait, hold on. I'm going backwards here. Hugo says, Mark, instantaneous and undetectable by a human implied, but I'll be able to tell and it will annoy me to no ends. Yeah, that's true, and also true what Sex Positive said. Yeah, that's why she wants to name my my company Overkill Productions. I have no company, but it's my fictitious company because that's what I do. That's what I do all the time is I kind of do overkill. So yeah, let's see. We've got interval ID or interval handle. Sorry, we didn't get the rename there because I didn't have it, wasn't correctly using it. Handle, like that. So now, I think we could loading on demand. I think we can do this. We can do a console log, loading background loading image, background loading image. With, let's change this to an interpolated string. Whoops. Background loading image with parts to load dot frame count images. Like that. Background loading. We'll just say part, we'll stay with the same name. So we're going to put this out. We're expecting to see this in the console log if this is working. So at this point, I should be able to go find my, this piece that I'm debugging over here. Come over and switch over to the die roller app now. And I guess two things. One is it should load quickly. So it seems like it should load already, and I'm not sure why this is taking a while. I've seen this before, and it's Chrome. And the solution before is to kill Chrome, shut everything down. Because I'm right-clicking and it's not responsive. Here it's responsive. Here I right-click and nothing's happening. So we appear to be in a problem space here. Wasn't it an infinite loop yesterday? Yeah, I guess we could be in an infinite loop as well, but I don't think that's the case. Can I don't know if I can break all. Can I break all inside of Java TypeScript? Now Visual Studio is not responding. Look at this. Look at where we are, kids. I'm here at the breakpoint. We're in our emitter code. I want to get a count on these right here, these particles. And I'm not getting anything. I'm not seeing anything on this. I wonder if I can do add this to watch on here. Will the watch window get it? Yeah, I'm thinking it's a restart is what we're looking at on those elements. CodeRushed is stalling VS. It certainly can be VS or Chrome stalling it, right? Says Hugo. Yeah, I've been a little bit suspicious of some of these messages here that are coming up here. Like we just saw Visual Studio unresponsive for a while, and then it said, "Oh, CodeRushed did it," but the time it claimed CodeRushed was responsible was a subset of the total time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure you're really counting the threads accurately. Looks like I'm going to hit cancel here. Looks like that's not going to work. And it looks like we just killed everything is what it looks like just happened. So let's go in and I'm going to kill every instance of Chrome that's out there. And we're going to restart the whole thing is what we're going to do. Here we go. That means we're resetting our fanfares. So if folks out there who have fanfares, if you want to keep them quiet when your next chat piece goes out, you can precede that by an open bracket, an open square brace to keep your fanfares suppressed. And you just have to do that for the first one, and then we'll know to suppress them. Okay, so there's the die roller. That's how fast it should be in terms of refreshing it right there. It's like there it's done. By the way, I saw what you did there, C# Fritz. Hot topic for shame, sir. Wait, what did C# Fritz do? Lava lakes, they're a thing. Hold on, I missed a couple of these in here. Kinda, sure, lava is kinda hot. Got it, they're a thing. Yeah, I definitely am reading in reverse. Wasn't it an infinite loop yesterday? Yeah, got that. Will Bennett says suppressed. By the way, I saw what you did there. All right, cool. So we are back in here again with this. Let's look in the inspector and see in the console. Uh-oh, no indication that we are background loading at all. So that's already a bit of a concern. Let's see if we can figure that part out. So emitter, we got problems in cleaning up our particles in our particle system, it looks like. Hold on, where do I have all of these guys open? I want to go back to part. It's where I am. I want to set like a breakpoint on load images here. And I think I'm going to set a breakpoint here and maybe one here. Uh-oh, that's not good. Why is that the case? Is that never executed? Okay, there we go. Now it's there. Okay, good. Good. Okay, and I'm actually in. That's weird. Why am I in now already? 3 seconds? Okay, maybe. Parts to load is an array of 0 length. Here, let's do inside add. Let's do a breakpoint here too. There's my add. Okay, cool. And let's set another breakpoint here. We'll see when we come back into load images. So within 3 seconds, we should see it. No? Oh, wait. I see what's happening. We're clearing the first one here. we need to have one more thing here. We need to have a piece that says you need to initialize after add. Ooh, I kind of like that actually. That's like a really neat idea. And maybe instead of, well, but I want to do it only if I haven't already done it, I think. And I haven't already, let's do one other thing in here. I need to do this. I need to set interval handle equal to 0. Is that fair? Or undefined is what I want it set to, like that. So that's undefined. Then I want to initialize down here. I want to say, hey, if that is equal to undefined, then I want to set it equal to this. And then let's do one more thing and set that equal to undefined here, just to explicitly make sure that that's working the way we're expecting it to. Yeah, so let interval be a number or null, set to null after clearing. So Will, I've used undefined instead. Are you good with that? Is my question. Good with my triple equals right there. I think you're going to be good with that. So that is, yeah, and then that way we're good. That's awesome. I feel like that's going to solve this problem here. So let's clear it a second. Let's come out here and refresh. And then in 3 seconds, no, still nothing. Why is that? Okay, we need more breakpoints to figure out what's going on, I think. Let's do one more refresh. It works if you enable the extra TypeScript checking. It's going to have squiggles on that property, though. Okay, got it. Okay, so now here's our initialize. Okay, we're setting our interval, calling load images every 3 seconds. There's our first call. Length is 0. We're going to set the interval back to undefined and return. Okay, here's our add. Wait, I thought I added that over there. I guess I did not. Okay, so I meant to do it. That's why it's not working, because I thought I did it and I didn't do it. We just had not actually changed this piece of the code right here. Initialize, like that. So we're going to call that right there. If you want a property to allow undefined, you should add a question mark at the end of the name in the declaration. So that means here, I do that, it sounds like. That's what I do. All right, so let's do a refresh over here. Let's bring the console window up. There was like an imaginary breakpoint there, I think. Come on, give me something. Still nothing. All right, what do I got to do here? All right, here's my call to initialize. Whoa, interval handle is set. Okay. So we're adding the part. Interval handle is set. Did I really? I should set the breakpoint here is what I should do. We're adding a lot of parts in here. Not loading the images, and we're not getting that interval. The timeout is in, has got to be in milliseconds. It can't be, that can't be wrong. I don't have it at 3,000 seconds. That would be ridiculous. Let's refresh one more time. Okay, interval handle is actually undefined. Okay, hold on. I need to do this too. Looks like we didn't even get the initialize call. We're getting load images called first. Or maybe not. Maybe it's been cleared. Is that possible? No, it couldn't be cleared because this is the first time we are, we're here. I think we need to just double check this. If interval handle is not equal to undefined, then we're going to clear it and we'll run that. So let me run that and run. What are we clearing on? Let's do this. Debug, clear all breakpoints. Now run. Okay. And now let's set breakpoints one more time here to just watch this happening. I'm really curious as to why this isn't loading. Let's refresh. Okay. There's my initialize right there. So we're setting the handle. The handle is 1. Okay. Then we are going to, I think I'll do the breakpoint there and a breakpoint in add and continue to run. There's a call to add right there. And we've got multiple calls to add. We're going into initialize and we're not expecting to come back down there for a while until we clear it. So load images is not being called. So it's like set intervals not working. Oh, duh. That I think is my problem. That's my problem, kids. I was treating it like a function call. Let's try one more time. Clear these instead of a method reference. All right. Okay, console. Now I'm expecting to see, there you go, part with 2 images. Okay, it looks like our sort is maybe wrong. Freeze, not found. Puff 32. Looks like we're trying to load 1 extra image. Let's look at freeze. Looks like we've got a freeze says it was at 30. It couldn't find 30. How many images are in freeze? There are 30, but it couldn't find number 30, right? Yeah, so it's a count problem there. Our count seems to be off. So we maybe have some code problems here. Total frames to load minus this images dot length. Yeah, we're off by 1. Oh, wait. Index string, absolute start index. That I think is correct. It's equal to 1. Total frames to load plus equal frame incrementer. Frame count divided by total frames to load. This, I think, needs to change to this. That might be it. Our frame incrementer might be slightly off. Let's see what happens if we do that change and we refresh. Two images loads okay. 30 images loads okay. 32 loads okay. And I think our sort is totally wrong. We've got our sorting doing the wrong order. So we want to swap that sort order is what we want to do. Okay, so let's fix that. And I think that fixed the problem too, the frame incrementer. It looks like it was a problem that was intermittently caused by the fractions, the number of frames needed to load. So, okay, good. That was a good bug to fix. So now we want to swap these around. We're going to say a.frameCount minus b.frameCount, like that. Let's come in here and refresh. We should see a big one load up now. That 196 one. Yeah, there it is right there. 195 images. That's the big one. Got a couple other ones out there. Perfect. Now that those are loaded, that means I should be able to come in here, say initialize data, and now send over that necrotic damage, which was the hard one, which took so much to load, damage only, and we should see it immediately. Oh, wait, did I choose the wrong? Oh, I chose piercing, sorry. Hold on, necrotic damage. One more time. Here it comes. And it's like smooth the first time it comes out. So that's kind of what's going on there. So that's not bad. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like that's not bad. This piece is muted right here. Let me unmute that so we can hear the sound effects of that. Cool. Let's throw out cold damage and see if we've got flickering or not. Could not tell. Acid damage. Let's look at that. Could not tell. Looks good. Fire damage. Yeah, we're at 73 images. So, like, fire has... How many does fire have? Dice, damage, fire. Fire's got 88. So yeah, it just loaded fire up right about in here. Or 89 images, that was fire right there. So yeah, so this is, I'm feeling pretty good about this now. So now these are all loaded up here. And that also means then, how else can we detect this? I'm trying to think of what else. The plants, I think on the main screen, if we do a refresh, come back to the stream, and there's the refresh. Now we still have flicker on the spinning coins, but now the other pieces like the plants, let's see if I can drop a seed here and get a plant. The plant, yeah, just no flicker at all coming up, which is, oh wait, is there a jump there? Oh wait, look at this. What is going on with that? It's a jump right there. Let's investigate further. Let's go back to a die roller. Let me check acid again, because acid is similar to the plants. It does not have the problem where it's jumping. So the acid one, just to show you, it grows and then it goes back in a loop and continues. So it'll stay on there. It'll stand there forever. Here, let's do it again. So now it's in a loop and it's just going back to the beginning of this thing. And then, you know, that's acid right there. So that's working. Why are the flowers jumping? I have maybe an idea. I totally know what it is. I think I totally know what the problem is. It has to do... Hold on. And this is a little tricky, but it has to do with how many frames to load. Let's change this back to the code it was before. Let's do this, and this, and this. So it's back to what we were before. And I want to do something like this, I think. If not, load only one, and I equals 0. Or let's change this. Let's say if only load 1 or I is greater than 0, then we want to load the image, which is here, like this. Like that. And otherwise but we will increment the actual frame count, and the absolute start index is going to go up by the frame incrementer. I want to see if this has a difference on that. Brendan says, hey, CodeRushed, how you doing, Brendan? Brendan from Dev Chatter is here. You got to check out his stream as well. That guy is definitely a smart guy to watch out there. Check out his channel if you haven't seen Dev Chatter. Brendan says, I saw a clip of you and something about S&B stream. Yeah, I was on S&B stream a while back showing CodeRushed. So yeah, that is the case. Brendan says, I'm definitely a person. We confirm, we agree. Although I have noticed a little zipper in the back of Brendan's neck. He tries to cover it up with his shirt, but if you unzip that, I'm wondering, does an alien head come out from underneath? check that for me and let me know back in the chat room, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, so I'm gonna try this and see if this works. So let's first try with the die roller effects. We'll do a refresh over here. Waiting for the player data. Let's initialize the player data, and now let's send out a damage attack. That seems to work. Let's send out our necrotic damage. We should expect to see flicker, maybe or maybe not. No, I think it got one of those out. It loaded it up. Okay, so there's the die looks funky because I haven't selected a player yet. I have to click one of the tabs here, but that puts the scroll bar down, and I don't want to do that now. So now let's go see what happens if we refresh our drone game cache and then try to drop a seed. Is that going to fix it? There's a refresh of the drone. This is insanely awesome, says Brendan. Yeah, you got to see this stuff. It's crazy stuff. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's come in here now. Let's say, I'll say drone. There's my drone. Let's drop a seed. And how does this look when it grows up? Is there the jump? It's smooth. Nope, there's a jump. I feel like this is new. Why is that the case on the seeds? There's something else that I was doing too that might have something to do with this. Actually, I think I totally know it. I still feel like I totally know what's going on here. This is, hold on a second. Oh, wait, I know what it is. I think I know what it is. Hold on a second. Frames to count. Global frames. Here's the problem. Global frames to load, global frames to count. These need to be set in the constructor. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to comment this out right here. I'm going to change this to the frame rate is equal to this dot frames to count divided by this dot frames to load. That's what I'm changing that to. Okay, so then I'm going to have to add frames to count, frames to load. We're going to come in here, this dot frames to load, this dot frames to count, like that. Okay, let's go to the constructor. And we are going to come in and do this. Copper Beauty says, not much lazy day, was doing some code kata earlier, is what Copper Beauty says. All right, so we're going to say that's equal to 1, and this one's equal to 1. And here we're going to say this dot frames to load is equal to that, and this dot frames to count is equal to that, and I'm going to say no to that, I think. And then I'm going to come in here. Here's what I think is happening. It is the global frames to load and global frames to count. These are optimization globals that are used for large animations. And so what they'll do is they'll say, okay, instead of animating and loading up 500, PNGs, let's only load a fraction of them. So it's deciding which ones to load is what's going on there. And so what's happening is it's being set when we declare it, but it's not being stored later on when we load it later. And so I think that's what's happening. I think this fix is going to make that work for the drone game. So let's go in and we'll refresh that live on this stream. You're going to lose your stuff here, guys. Sorry about that. But we're going to do that and see if that fixes the seed problem, if I haven't made any mistakes. Let's see. Grows up, and does it now go in a loop that's seamless? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. No jump. Okay, so we fixed the jump problem. We've got load on demand happening in the background as well. Let me show you, Brendan, since you're here. Let me play because it's so much freaking fun. Let me go. I'm going to load up one of these Dungeons and Dragons pages here. I'm going to send the player data over to here. And looks like I'm going to try that one more time, sending the data over. All right. And then let's go ahead and send some of the dice over. And so we were working on, Brendan says, don't get to play D&D much. Well, I'm actually not playing at all. I play 2 hours a week on Sunday nights, but that's it. But I've been spending this show implementing the engine for that, including the die rolling and things like that. And so, I'll show you a couple things if you haven't seen some of these yet here. So I'm going to do the thunder wave attack, and we'll say that's thunder damage. And roll that. Let me get this off of the screen like this. We'll get this over here, and I'll hit the attack. Uh-oh.
Making contact. That is a hit.
Looks like I may have caused a problem, maybe. Let's do a refresh of that, and also do a refresh of the Dragon Front overlay and see if I've caused a problem or not. Here comes the data. And let's do that same piece again, the thunder wave with the thunder damage. And we'll make it be with Ava, and here's the roll.
Look at that damage. Oh, and look at all that damage.
Oh, we're getting double sound effects. This guy is up. Let me mute this guy right here. Like that. And so there's thunder damage, acid damage. You've seen. Let me increase the number of die here to we'll make it 4 D12s. I really like the D12s. Here's the attack roll right there. It's the 20-sided die's got the ring around it because it's a magic attack. And then we have some special attacks too. I don't know if you've seen these or not. Here's the Paladin Smite attack with radiant damage. Here we go. She rolls a 3, so it's an incredible miss. But that's what the rolls are going to look like. They're kind of fun like that. I think you saw the necrotic. Let's look at that. Here comes the necrotic attack. Nice, and bludgeoning, kind of fun. Oh, there's the bludgeoning attack right there. The cold attack you've seen. Fire, I think you may have seen. Here's the fire attack. So super cool. Really looking forward to doing this. Here's the force attack. I actually like the force attack a lot. It's got a cool looking sound to it. Here comes force.
Making contact. That is a hit.
C# Fritz is asking, is it possible to control how hard you throw the dice, get more bounce with more force? Yeah, we are doing that. Our throw strength, I think, is what it is. It's out in Die Roller. Let's go look at that. Die Roller. Is it like strength, I think? Maybe that's a bad thing to search for because Dungeons & Dragons has strength. No, it's like throw. Modifier? Is that right? No. Throw. Strength? No. What is it? Got a lot of stuff starting with the word throw here in this code. There it is. Throw power. That's what's going on there. So throw power is how hard we're throwing it. Somewhere in here, dice roll throw power, we're actually setting this before we call it, which means that's coming out in our WPF app. So that's going to be in main window.cs right here. Let's go look for throw power up in here. Throw power. So here's what's happening here. I'm just basically saying throw power is going to be equal to this kind of a random number right here. And if it's less than 0.3, it's equal to 0.3. If we want to increase this, let's set a breakpoint right here, like that. Let's do the die roll again. Here comes the die roll. And now here's the question. Let's double it and see what happens. We're still a random, so it's possible it could be less than 3. Let's set a breakpoint there to find out if it does get less. Oh, it does. So that one was not an impressive one. Why don't we do this? We could also say +1. No, 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 that would be bad. We'll just do this. We'll roll it a couple times and we'll see how fast it comes out. So there's one. Cleared the breakpoint. Let's roll it again. Not impressive. Doesn't look like it's much faster.
Spectacular
Yeah, I'm
miss.
not excited about any of this yet. All right, let's set another breakpoint. Let's say +4, just to go crazy on this and see what happens. Something's limiting it. It's limiting it, being limited on the other side. Hold on.
Critical hit.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's go back and restore this to just ×4, like that. Let's go see where we're limiting it. I'm sure we're limiting power somewhere. Not in the C# code. All right, so then that means over into here. Let's go look at what's going on with throw power here. See, are we limiting it anywhere? Because there it is. Here's the problem right here. So let's change it to, if it's greater than 4, then it's equal to 4. Okay, let's try that. We're going to do a refresh of the dice over here. Refresh the die roller. Interesting. I'm hitting refresh, but the die aren't clearing. That was weird. I refreshed the cache. OBS is not refreshing the cache, it seems. I'm definitely hitting refresh the cache on it. Interesting. Let's try switching away and coming back. What's happening here? My WPF app is not responsive. As if I'm in a breakpoint. That's why. It thought I was in a breakpoint somewhere. Okay, that's why the cache wasn't responding. Okay. Come back over here, waiting for player data to be initialized. Let's initialize the data. And let's check the throw power on that. Let's do another one of these and see if we can get... There you go. Yeah, notice those were slowly loading right there. That's the load on demand piece that's happening out there. Let's switch over to cold and do the same thing. Let's do an attack. I don't know, maybe 4 is a little too strong. But yeah, it's possible to control how hard you throw the dice, is the answer to the question. So I basically got it simulating different strength moves. So sometimes it'll throw hard, sometimes it'll throw soft, just to simulate a player. So it seems it feels natural. Sometimes it comes in from this angle, sometimes it comes in from that angle. I also have invisible walls over the players' heads and around our dungeon master, who will be in the upper right, so the dice don't roll and land on top of the visuals there. So there's that. Let's bring up fire damage here. So I don't know, maybe 3 is my magic number here, is what I'm thinking it is in terms of strength.
It's a hit.
It's a hit. Do you stream your game somewhere? Yeah, have not started streaming it yet, but it's at Twitch. Here, I'll put the link out here if you want to, folks want to go out and start following. We've not gone live yet. It is, hold on, there. That's where you can go if you want to follow it. We are still in practice mode and developing the game engine. However, when we go, it's going to be really, really funny. It's a very marked name, says Brendan. Yeah, it is. It's a comedy show, comedy Dungeons and Dragons game with the engine we're creating is going to enable like crazy adherence to the rules. So things like spell effects, spells that expire like in 10 minutes or in, whatever the duration is, will automatically expire when that time passes because we're keeping track of the Dungeons and Dragons time. When we enter combat like this, the clock stops moving, initiative is rolled for all 4 players. There's the initiative roll. And then we get the scoring right there. So there's the initiative. We don't roll for the monsters. The dungeon master keeps that. but this data comes out. We also are tracking this historically. So I go into history over here, we can see down here, there's our initiative roll that was just fired off right there and what everybody got. So if the Dungeon Master asks a question, we can go in and he can look at this and see what's going on there. And you can see in the past here the other rolls that we've done since we refreshed it. So that's it. We've got some killer special effect attacks here. I think I showed the Paladin Smite. We've got, let's do a sneak attack with lightning damage. And that looks like this. And so the smoke was purple because my character was selected.
That's a hit.
I'm active, but if we switch to another character like Shimo, who's green, and we do that same sneak attack again, you're going to see green smoke. And here it comes. Like that. And it's the same asset, we're just color shifting
That's
it.
a hit.
It's something we built here on the show. And even the lightning effects, we're color shifting a bit here. So we just got some random color shifting a bit, so it stays mostly purple with those effects, explosive effects, color shifting, even with the nameplate tags down here. These are all built color shifting, and the ends, they expand and contract depending on how much text we want to put in it. So it's a bitmap behind the nameplate, but it changes its size and it looks like one whole bitmap, but it's really made out of 3. Still need to dig it into that hue shifting effect you did. Yeah, it's huge from the standpoint of saving resources. So now I can do something with one resource, and we also had a rotation in. So that's how we get the rotation. Like when we come in and we do like here, let's do slashing damage here, and we'll take a look at this. This rotation is all. It's a single animation of a sword tip spinning and or a lance spinning, and then. But the animation, the rotation is all done with the engine. So we've got rotation with the engine. We've got rotation around any point. That's also how the necrotic damage, why it looks so good. We've got one for the guy, and that goes down and then comes back up, and that guy is rotating around at a slow pace, right? In fact, I think I want to do for necrotic damage, I think I want to do some color shifting for that, actually, now that I think about that. Let's color shift that just a bit, and we'll tweak that, and that'll be the last thing we do. So we'll go into dice layer, and let's see here. Let's go find a necrotic, add necrotic head. This is where we're adding the head. If we want to do color shifted, we're going to call add shifted. And then it's going to ask the hue shift. This is going to be like so crazy easy. We're just going to say random. This is a class we created. And we're going to say plus or minus. And we're going to say maybe 20. So it's a brown head. So it's going to shift up or down by about 20 degrees on that spectrum. Let's refresh and see how that looks on the stream. So we'll come up here into Roll 3D Dice. And choose refresh cache of current page. There it's refreshed it. Initialize player data. Send out necrotic damage. Now I expect at this point we're going to see some flicker the first time because we just reloaded. But you see a little bit of color change there. You can see a little color shifting there, which is kind of what I was looking for. It's one of the things that I've discovered like just in the last month, that if you want to have suspension of disbelief, you have to eliminate recognizable duplication, right? So how do we do that? And so one of the things I'm also working on is when you get a hit or a miss. And I learned that, like when I had recognizable misses, like, oh, Mo, that was an embarrassing miss, like that it is more recognizable, and so therefore needs to be much more limited in use. And pieces that are not recognizable as duplicates, where I just say miss, 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 those you can duplicate as much as you want, just with maybe slight changes. And so what I'm doing with those, I haven't done it yet, but what I'm going to do with those is when it's a miss, there's going to be a sound effect that's going to play around that same time. Will Bennett, by the way, is showing the hue shifting with the test poof command, where we're typing in test poof and then the color shifting value right there that he's giving it. So he's showing that right there. Let me hide the scroll. Boom. Color shifting is going on there. So because Shimo was up, her color is green. If we switch over to my character and then we hide the scroll, my color's purple, that's going to be purple explosion. It's the same asset, but I'm reusing it again and again and making it look different. The other thing I did with this asset, we built this asset live on the show. The fire is not color shifted. So the asset consists of both the upper and lower layer. And so, boom, like that. In fact, oh my gosh, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I was not going to do this, but let's see if I wasn't going to do this on the show, but maybe I can do this. Let me start up, hold on a second. I'm going to start up Adobe Premiere. Let me close this project and let me see if I can open up and find the flowers. Because I want to get the flowers, I want to change the flowers so we can change the petal color, but not the stem color is what I want to do. So let's look at that. I think I have projects, and do I have flowers in here? Let's go look. Hold on, let me bring this up here so you can see what I'm looking at. Search for project flower. Anything with flower in it? Just the project I'm looking for. I got actually a lot of things called flowers. Hold on. I want the yellow flowers, which looks like, unfortunately, I didn't rename these project names. So I'm going to, let's just, let's open it up and see what we get. See if we get lucky. Whoops, sorry. I totally did that in the wrong window. I thought I was in the here it is right here. One more time. Let's do name for the flowers. Let's grab that one. It's converting it. It's on another screen. I'll drag it up in a second. It's loading. Nice. It's the one I wanted. Here we go. All right. So here's what we have. Oh, it's actually not the one I wanted. It's a different one. But it's actually a good example. And then we've got this right here happening at the end. So we've got the opening part, and then this, and then that. So what I want to do, I think, is I want to take all of this, and I want to just nest it and say it's the flower sequence, the flower grow. Maybe call it yellow flower grow. So we'll do that. By the way, this is the loop point right here, I think, from there to there. So we go from there back to here. That's the loop. So that frame number, that's at 2 seconds and 18 frames in. This is actually a long animation, right? It's 9 seconds long is what this is. So it's going to be a lot of frames. 9 times 30 is gives you an idea. So about 300 frames, 270 frames is this. But we'll create this, add it, and drop it. That's what we'll do, and we'll see how this works for the drone game. So this will be one of the seed pieces that we got. But what I want to do is I want to create 2 levels for this, an upper and a lower level for this layer. So let's do that. So this is going to be kind of a test of the engine and the. So Plutonin is asking, how do you make those? These I found the animation out as a movie. I'm inside Adobe Premiere, and then I'm going to generate PNG files for them. Is what I'm going to do. So so this is the movie. The behind it, I've got an image for just testing, and I have it turned off. But this is what's going on. The movie has got an alpha channel in it. So, and the last thing I did in it is I took this beginning part, put it out to the end, and did a cross dissolve when I got them close together. So what's going to happen is they're going to do this as they get near the end. And so it's not going to be really so noticeable when they're in the bottom. So what's cool is these are going to drop, they're going to grow, and those flowers will be at the bottom. That's what's happening. So but we can do a couple things with this to make it look, to encourage that suspension of disbelief. One is we can create all kinds of different color flowers if we can isolate just the yellow and get rid of it. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So I'm going to duplicate this right here. I'm going to turn off this one for a second. I'm going to grab in my effects, I'm going to grab a color key and drag it on here. And I'm going to go find green. And I'm going to try and get rid of green. Like that. Okay? So I've gotten rid of green. Now I'm going to do a hue shift on this just as a proof of concept here to show you. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hue shift this to that color and then bring in back the background. See what's going on? And so now we've changed the color. Okay? So now what I want to do then is I've got, so there's my growing part right there. That's cool. I also think I want to do the same thing on the back here. I want to take a color key on the back and just try to remove a little bit of that yellow is what I want to do. So just to kind of get rid of that in case we shine through or anything along those lines. So let's increase tolerance there. Let's maybe add another color key for the red to get the red out as well. Although the red's not, I'm not so worried about the reddish orange because there is what I think I want there. And now let's look at them both together here and see how they look. Okay, it looks like we got a little bit of problem here, and that's probably with my green right here. Let's drop the green. Let's bring a little more green back in. Yeah. And so check it out. With a little bit of work, I've shifted the colors of the top, but not the bottom. Okay, is what I've done. So kind of cool. Let's double check though. Let's see here. Do we really have? We have a little bit in. So there's going to be a little bit of a tint shift on the stem, especially in this area. But we can fix that even more by going into this and adding a crop. So we're going to add a crop to this. And let's go in and we're going to make this thing dynamic. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say left all the way to get rid of it. So we've just lost all the flowers. Then I'm going to say add this. And then I'm going to say invert that mask. So I'm adding a mask and inverting it. And we're going to animate this mask so it moves as the flowers move. So I'm going to say mask path is going to move. And we're going to come back over here. Click up there so we can see it. So we're going to say that we want a keyframe right there. And as we come up, then we're going to go to our mask path and we're going to move this up like this and like this. So it's kind of, I'm going to add a point right there. So it kind of comes up and bring a point right there. So now we are not going to have that junk down at the bottom. And let's look at that. Let's watch it as it comes up there. And then we get to here where we need to increase our mask. Bring out here, come out here, 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 and there. So we're bringing the mask up. And let's also do this because we're like up here now. Like that. So we can get this nice green stems down at the bottom and a little bit less up at the top. Does that all work? It looks like it all works. So kind of cool. I can change the mask feathering a little bit as well, make it a little bigger so it's a harder to tell, so it kind of blends it down a bit. Let's just watch this whole thing in reverse. Looks like we get a little close right here. I want to bring this out a little bit right there. And let's delete that keyframe right there. Okay, cool. There. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. All right, so there's that. Now the other thing I want to do is, let me take a screenshot of this. We're at 100% right here. I want to tighten that up so we don't have the image so big. So let's go over here. This is how I was working on Codebase Alpha's thing this morning. I brought that up there. I just want to come over here and see how big we really need this to be. And it looks like it needs to be about that big right there. Like that. And let's go see its image dimensions. It's 312 by 280. So I'm going to come back over here into Premiere and say sequence settings, 312 by 280. By the way, I would love for them to have a crop feature that actually cropped it. 312 by 280. Is that what I said? Yep, 312 by 280. Okay, that was a test for Codebase Alpha's fanfare. That worked. Awesome. Codebase Alpha is back. What I miss? I'm in the middle right now of creating a flower animation that's going to work for that we're going to add to the drone game. So we'll drop a seed and this flower is going to come up, and we're going to use color shifting on it so we can have a random color. So when we plant flowers all across the bottom, they'll look different. There'll be different random colors as they come up. So let me see. I want to bring this up a bit. Whoops. Let's go down to the bottom one and bring it up first to right about there, which is 81. And then let's go to the top one. We're going to change that to 81 as well and set it back. And so now I'll just watch it. There's the growth and there's the animation, and it looks like it's going to be good. And then the ending is the looping point. So it's beautiful animation. Now what I want to do is this. I'm going to remove the background. I'm going to turn off the foreground. And now I'm going to generate the background flower is what I'm going to do. So it's a PNG. Let's go find out where we're going to put this. Not in Mr. Announcer Guy. We're going to go over into CodeRushed, Mr. Announcer Bot, Overlay Manager, WW-Root, Game Dev, Assets, Drone Game. I got a Flowers. I got a Flowers folder. And see what I used to do? What a nightmare this was. And it took up so much, right? And so now I'm going to add, create a new folder, and we're going to call this our Super Flower. I don't have a better name for it right now. And we're going to go in there, and then this one is the, which one did I have first? I think it's the back. I think it's Super Flower back. Like that. Is it? Yeah, it's the back. All right, cool. And then we're going to say, send the entire sequence out and export it. So it's going to create a whole bunch of PNGs. Now, I'm going to run PNG Gauntlet on it, but I'm not going to do it now. PNG Gauntlet is a great tool for compressing PNG files. I can generally remove about 20% of the waste that's in the PNG file if I run PNG Gauntlet on it. So there's the back. Let's get the front now. So I'm just disabling this and now enabling the front. So now we just have the front piece right here, like that. Okay. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of that. Maybe I can come in and increase this a bit. Let's see what we can do to get it kind of in there, kind of in there. I'm just going to kind of do that a little bit. So we just have a little bit of a tint on that. And that should make that look a little greener and just a little bit of a hue shift near the end. Okay, so now I have this piece. It's the exact same piece, right? I'm going to just put that right down on it as well. It's the front. So we're going to call this the Super Flower front. And that's the one we're going to color shift. And we're going to say, do the whole thing. And actually the green stems, we can color shift those just a little bit. We can do plus or minus 20 degrees and they'll stay kind of green. They'll be like dark. And we can also do dark and light greens too. We can play with that a bit so they're still green. And so now we've done that. So we're done with, we're done here. And let's close that down. Let's close this down. And now we just need to write some code to use that. So to do that, we need to go out in somewhere in the drone game, which we haven't been to in a long time. Here's some seeds. Plant seeds is this. Plant seeds behind. Ooh, this is my function. Let's go into plant seeds. So right now, so in order to save, you know, things were just getting crazy because I was loading all these assets up here. So yellow flowers one is the piece that's out there. I want to change this. Let's actually just flat out use the new one is what we're going to do. So let's change this. So we're going to say, we're going to call this the Super Flower. But the yellow petunias we lose, which I kind of like to. We'll have to, let's do it in addition to is what maybe we'll do. Let's do this. We'll rename this petunias like that. And And this return frame index 64, that's what we're going to do where it's going to return back. We'll need to calculate that return frame index where it needs to go. So let's go find yellow petunias, and wherever it is, we're going to go duplicate it. We're going to call this the super flower now. Like this. Okay, and let's go use tab to next reference to find it. There's my yellow petunias. I'll draw my super flowers on top of it. So this is my drawing order right here, my Z order. So we'll just do it afterwards. We're going to take these 2 lines of code. I'll duplicate those, and CodeRushed is saying, oh, I think you want to work with a super flower maybe instead. And I'm going to say that's correct, CodeRushed. You are correct. Good job. And let's go to let's go here a second, because this is going to be the fastest way to get to this directory. I think if I just come in here and click on this and grab this and right click this and say open a new window. Okay. All right, so here's the super flower as it grows right here. These are all the assets that we created for that. Yeah, they're looking pretty cool. It occurred to me though, I should have made the flowers red. Should have, but I'm not going to, I guess. I'm not going to change it. I'll just keep them as blue for now. Because we're just going to switch, we're just going to color shift those. Let's look at the counts for these, the total number of assets that we're loading. First of all, let's make sure the path is right. Super flower and then super flower back is going to be this piece right here. Let's rename this to super flower back. And my frame rate is going to be, what's my flower frame rate? 20 frames a second. I'm going to say it's the, wait, that's not frames per second. That's the frame interval is what it is. Okay, I'm fine with the flower frame rate being that. We're using the same flower frame rate. It's a loop, yes. The return frame index is, we've got to go get that, figure that out. It's right here. So that's at 218. If it's 30 frames a second, is that right? It is 30 frames a second. If we go back one, or if we go just shy of 2, it's going to be at what? 29, yeah, 30 frames a second. So it's 60 plus 18 is 78. That's our return frame index. That's our back. We got to also load up our front. Like this. Let's go get back to here. Let's duplicate this line and yellow super flower front. Like that. And get that in there. And so now we want to draw, yeah, the front's going to be on top of the back. That makes sense. And this needs to change the word front right here. Like that. So we've got the same frame rate, the same return index. Okay, let's see where else yellow petunia is showing up. There it is right there. I think we're going to do something like this. And we need to plant 2 seeds. We need to plant in this scenario here. I want to do this. I want to say if random yellow, I want to say this is times 10. And if it's less than 2, then we're going to plant petunias. Otherwise, we're going to plant the super flower back, and we need to also plant the super flower front. Now, this is the X position right here. The Y position, oh wait, we have to do the, that's what's happening in plant seed. Let's go look at this. Okay, so it's figuring out the screen height, the sprite height, that's why. I want to add a couple things inside of here. Instead of saying push, I want to call add shifted, I think. sprite array. Wait. Plant seed petunias is sprites. Let's declare this as of type sprites. Like that. And now I can come in here and I can choose add shifted. That's going to give us a shifted version of it. It's going to take an X and a Y. There's my X and Y position. And a starting frame index, which is going to start at frame 0. And a we set the lifespan later, it looks like we're going to do. Oh, look at that. Let's see, what do we got? Here's my X and Y. Here's my 0. And the hue shift is the last thing. So we're going to say random dot max 360. We can do that for the plant seed. Hold on though. All right, switching to the action genre. Okay, so hold on a second here. I can shift the hue. Hue shift is 0. If we can shift the hue, then we're going to come down here and say hue shift is equal to this. Like that. And then we're just setting its expiration date on that. So add shifted is going to return that sprite. We're just setting its expiration date to that lifespan. Then we want to say true here. And that might work. And it's so fast to test. I was going to refresh the stream, but we got this killer music going, and when we refresh the stream, we're going to lose that music. So instead, let's get over here and go to the drone game. Drone overlay, sorry. Okay. Let's load on demand. Oh, did we load them up? Did we get all the frames? I don't think we loaded all the frames right. Hold on a second. We didn't specify the... Is it really 270? I want to double check that. It is not. It is 290 is the frame rate. I mean the number of frames down here. 290, 290. Yeah, so it's a long animation. Try one more time. Refresh. Here it comes. Let's try a seed drop. Okay, let's try another. Let's do a launch. See flickering as it's loading up the resources. Let's drop another seed. Another color, we do. Look at that, kids. Isn't that awesome? So let's go ahead and we'll lose the music for a second. We'll start it up after we refresh. Here comes a refresh of the stream's drone game. And we'll get this out of the way right here. So we're refreshing, and we'll do a test of this thing. I'm hitting the music button. There we go. It took a while to finally get it. There's the music button. Is it going to work this time? Will the heights of the plant vary as well as color? No, not yet. I want to set that. I want to set that up. I'm hitting music. It is not working. I'm hitting the button. I guess I can just type it in the chat window. Yeah, for some reason my button wasn't working on my Stream Deck. Yeah, we can change that. We can also rotate them slightly too. Let's go look at that. Changing the height of the plants. Here we go. We'll drop the seed out here right on top of the... Nice. Yeah, so we can change the height. We don't have scaling yet. Drone engine is still running. Oh, you're right. Let's dock that. I think I have to launch it here on the stream and then dock it. Wow. I don't know where that's coming from. Let's huh. Yeah, I don't think it's, no, it wasn't the Chrome window. The Chrome window was muted. It was definitely on OBS. So OBS kind of will hold on to a browser's audio even if the browser window is closed. One of those pop-ups running in the background, lol. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so let's look at changing the height of it. So I think we want to. I think we want to do something along these lines here. I think we want to say something like height drop is equal to random max. Maybe, well, let's look at it. Let's actually look at it in here. I think we could drop it down at most about this much, which is 51 pixels. So we can do something like that, max 51. Or max 5 times 10, so we have something like that. And that's our height drop. And then we can come in here and say our Y position is equal to that plus the height drop. So that will change that. The other thing that we can do as well is we can say, hey, let's say, we're going to say our flower sprite proxy is equal to this. I'm just going to clean up this code a little bit. I don't like how this is wrapping. And then we're going to say flower.expiration date is equal to that. And then I think I also want to do this. I want to offer an additional angle in here, which is we're going to rotate it a little bit. And we're going to set that to 0. And then we're going to come down in here and say flower.angle rotation, there it is right there, equals angle, like that. And then what we can do is come up here and we can say angle is equal to random plus minus, I don't know, maybe 15 degrees. And then we're going to pass in the angle there. We're going to pass in false here. And the angle there, like that. So we've got our plant seed call with the angle going in. The other thing we need to do is we need to figure out the center point for this guy, which is right down in there, the origin, which is 160, 277. 160, yeah, 160, 277. So let's set that as well. Origin X is equal to 160. Origin Y is equal to 277. Been fun. Gotta run. Catch y'all later, says Copperbeardy. Thanks for showing up, Copperbeardy. Glad to have you with us. Thanks so much. Okay, so now we've got that. So we'll rotate around the bottom of it. And the only thing I have to worry about is if we lift it up too much, if we rotate too much, we might see the bottom edge at the bottom of the screen. We can test that. Let's do a refresh of the drone game here out on the live stream, and we'll test the code we just wrote. So we'll say there's the refresh. Let's plant the seed. Let's launch as well. Uh-oh. Ooh, cool colors, but we're off to the side now. Yeah, I know what's going on there. Let's go take a look at that. Because I set the origin from the upper left now to that bottom area, when we call plant seed, we got a slight problem. Plant seed is going to also work with the sprite width divided by 2 and the sprite height minus the screen height minus this, all of this. So it's setting all of these pieces in motion here. I need like a secondary. I need two different kinds of plant seeds here is what I think I do. Or you know what I can do is this. Let's do this. We're going to change the petunias. The petunias will be off and we'll fix that as well, I think. Like that. That cleans up this code. And then for the petunias, we'll fix that for the yellow petunias. And we need to do that same thing for them. They're in this folder, yellow petunias 1. Let's go grab that. Let's open up one of those folders and get its center point. I'm sorry, open up one of those files, one of those PNGs. And it's right here at 133,224. 133,227. So we're going to say it's, grab these. 133, and it was 277 just like the others. Is that right? Did we really nail that? Yeah, 227. Okay. 227, like that. And this is yellow petunias. So that should fix for yellow petunias and the flower back. And now let's try a refresh again on our main page, our drone game here on the stream. Here comes the launch. Here comes the seed. Seed's taking a while to show up. There we go. We've got 2 of them right next to each other. Let's move to the right for a bit. Let's start dropping more seeds. CMJ Chris Jones says, hey, CodeRushed in chat. Hey, welcome, CMJ Chris Jones. Check it out. We're playing with flowers a little bit. It's kind of cool. There's a little stutter. There's a little stutter in them. It's like our return frame is not calculated correctly. Is that true or not? Or did it just not? Yeah, there's a stutter. But they're kind of fun. They're not bad. The height thing is, you can see the height changing. You see the one to my right is like that high and the one over here is higher. So that height change seems to be working fairly well. Although I think we can make it go more than that. I don't like the flower petals being green. That doesn't feel realistic to me. So I think what I need to do is I need to come back out over into Adobe Premiere here. Let's close this down. Take our flower grow, change our hue so they're red. So we have a known entity that we're dealing with here. There's the red flowers. Okay. That looks to be pretty close to red. We're going to regenerate those so we have red instead of blue. So I'm going to grab this, change the front to that. Send the whole sequence out, export it. And then we're going to add some code to say, hey, if you're in green, you can't be in green. So we're going to pick another color so that we don't have green flowers. That's what we're going to do. We don't have anything close to green. We want anything out of there. So we're just going to have like purples and blues and pinks, things like that. There go the flowers. They're disappearing. Cool. Let's do that. All right. So now with those new assets out there, our front flowers are the ones we're color shifting. We have a color shift. Can shift hue is true. So here's what we want to do. So if we look at the, let's grab the, what are we looking for here? Like the color hue gradient with degrees. And I want something like this. There we go. So if the number's between like 70 and 170, we're going to reject it. Okay? So we're going to say while hue shift is greater than 70 and we need a small random chance of big sunflower sprouting up. Well, we do have, you see, right to my left, we have a 1 in 10 of that guy right there, of the original yellow petunias. But yeah, I'm totally with you on this. And hue shift is less than 170. Then we're going to say, we're going to repeat this line of code like that. And just to keep things from going, possibly crazy, we're going to say, num tries is equal to 0. We're going to increment num tries like this. And we're also going to check to make sure, say that, num tries is less than, I don't know, we'll try like maybe 30 times. And then we'll come down here and we'll say, hey, if num tries is equal to 30, like some crazy stuff like that, then we're just going to say hue shift is equal to 0, I guess. Or maybe it might be better to check to see if hue is green. Why don't we do this? Let's do this dot hue is green and pass in hue shift. That's better. And there's my method declared, and then we're going to say return that hue is greater than it, then 170 and less than the other. This is going to be a Boolean. So while hue is green, then we're going to do that, and then we're going to come down at the end. We're going to say, hey, if hue is green at the end, this is so much better. And then, so yeah, this is just, I know this is like crazy defensive code. A lot of you are going like, look, 30 times. Who cares if it's green after we tried 30 times? It's really, whatever. But I like to do this. This makes me feel more comfortable. So yeah, I like the sunflower sprouting up idea. That's a great idea. We'll see if we can find that asset and we can do that. Yeah, check out the flowers. They're kind of cool. So now we should have, with this change, we should be, let's refresh. I think if I do this and come in here, that's going to reload. Yeah, it looks like it's reloading. Cool. And once that's loaded, we're going to launch. Get some music up here. See if we can get music now. There we go. All right. Here's the launch. So now we should see no green flowers. Whoops. Yeah, it feels like it's worked. Cool. One other thing I think I want to do is I want to change that heights drop to be potentially higher than 50. I think I want to make it, I think I want to make it up to 90 is what I think I want to make it to. Let's try that. And here we go. We're going to stop the music again. We're going to switch over and refresh. Can I do a launch right now? Yeah, cool. Even though not everything's loaded. That's awesome. Whoa, are those green? They're right on the edge. I'm going to argue they're right on the edge and that we can... yeah, those are right on the edge. I'm going to allow it. We can widen that 70 to 170 check. Yeah, should we do that? It's right here. Yeah, it's actually on the outer edge of it. It was what it was. Let's change it to 60. This was that teal color is right on the outer edge of it. So let's change that. Let's do this. Is my return point not calculated correctly? Is that why I've got that jump? So here to there. Oh, there is a jump. Is that right? It was the last frame. There to there. Oh, it's just that one. Wait, I think I got the wrong jump point back. Hold on. There to there. That's my jump point. It's like here. Okay, my bad. Which is at 309. So my return point is return frame index is 309, so 3 times, that's 99 is what we should be at. If I change both these to 99, that should be smoother. Let's refresh one more time. Sorry about that. Here we go. Refreshing one more time on the live stream. Let's do a launch. Right. 44. Seed. 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 And now we shouldn't see anything teal. We can see flowers going dropping a little lower. And we've got blue, but we don't really have that teal that we saw before for the flower. Yeah, code-based office is very pretty. Yeah, super cool. I like too that new flowers get drawn on top of older flowers. So super, super cool. Yeah, I'm loving it. I am loving that. Very cool. Very cool stuff. We did some good work today, guys. We've got lazy loading now on our... hold on, I want to bring that up. Where is it? Where is it? There you are, right there. Okay. We have lazy loading on our assets. It's kind of cool. We can see some of the stuff happening out here. I haven't refreshed this over here. CM Chris Jones is still flying in that space right there. Let's refresh it. Yeah, pretty happy with the changes we made over the last 2 days, right? We really improved the quality of the engine. The engine's now doing both load on demand and background loading. So, and it's prioritizing background loading by the size of the piece. So the bigger it is, the higher priority it has in terms of the load. So it's pretty cool stuff. Let's go find somebody out here to send you guys all to. Let's see who we're following out there who's live. Well, InstaFluff, we got a new kid out here. Let's send you out to this guy. This guy's actually kind of interesting. This is Cold or CLW is yeah. A lot of people are actually streaming right now live. Code Phobia's out there. Michael Jolly's out here. CLW though is kind of interesting, and he rated me I think the other day. So I want to return that favor for him. So let me just send up the raid. We'll send you over to him. And thanks so much. And we'll see everybody. You can't make us, we won't go, says Will Bennett. We're starting the raid. It's going to happen, I think. So kids, thanks so much for showing up. We will see you on next Tuesday. All right. Thanks a lot and goodbye.